Welcome to the TPC Desktop video series. In this video, we're going to look at surface exclusions. This is a feature that's new to TPC Desktop 2018 Release 1. Prior to this release, when we had contours that we didn't want to run through a building or something like that, we actually had to fill that in and make sure that layer was over the top. So let me kind of undo that in this process here. So I'm going to go into the traverse settings, open up the fill, tell Traverse PC to turn off any fills, and I can see there's that contour line running through it. So here's how we do it inside of Traverse PC. A real easy way is just to right-click any surface object, a tin line or a contour line, go to Surface Tools, Exclusions, and choose Get Exclusions from Traverse. Now I can just click a traverse and it's excluded. Pretty simple. And a lot of the exclusions you're going to do are just that way. You're going to make sure the contours don't run through a garage or a house or a feature on your sitemap. But I want to jump in a little bit deeper now and kind of show you how this works inside of Traverse PC. Let's open up the settings for this surface, and there's an exclusions tab now. And so I could just as easily come in and remove all the exclusions. So Traverse PC is going to tell me, do you want to clear all of them? And I say yes. And if I apply that now, the exclusions are back. Notice right off the bat, though, that I told Traverse PC that if I bring exclusions into this surface, I want to apply them just to the contours. If you needed to, you could say, hey, I want to take those exclusions out of the volume computation, slope analysis, transects, extents, and area. But I think for the most part, you're going to be happy just to say, I just don't want to show the contours running through that building. Now, there are some other ways to get the exclusions in here. I'm going to show my traverses here and turn on the groups in here. Here's that trailer cover. So I could come into the Traverse Manager and select one or more traverses, and then I can just say Get. So get the exclusions from the selected traverses, here they are, and apply them. Pretty simple. So let's say I had 3 or 4 buildings out there. I could just select those buildings in the Traverse Manager and say Get. Now I've got all those triangles in there ready to roll. I can also remove those for that traverse. So I can say, hey, I want to remove the exclusions from just that traverse, and it'll pull those back out. Now, once I've pulled in the exclusions, I can tell Traverse PC to either apply or not. So I might say, I want to see what this looks like without the exclusions, okay? Or I want to see what it looks like with the exclusions. Sometimes handy just to kind of play back and forth a little bit. You can do the same thing by right-clicking a contour line, going to Surface Tools, Exclusions, and say, hey, turn the exclusions off. Okay, I don't want to apply them right now, so I can see what the changes are from having the exclusions in there. Or I might say, turn the exclusions back on. You might not necessarily use this for exclusions running through a house, but you can also use exclusions instead of editing the border. So around the outside of the surface, I can say, hey, I want to exclude these triangles that are kind of out here at the edge where I don't want to show contours. And you might just want to turn that off and on. Now, some of you are saying, well, how do these exclusions work? So let's just drop in and take a little bit closer look at what we're actually doing here. Let's go ahead and remove all the exclusions, and let's come in and turn on tin lines. I think this will be the most helpful way for you to kind of see what's happening. Let's do what we did just a moment ago, but manually exclude triangles. So I'm going to right-click, go to Surface Tools, Exclusions. I'm going to say Edit Exclusions. So the prompt now says, would you like to recompute these as you edit it? I'm going to say yes. I want to see the changes. And then the status bar just says left-click inside a triangle to show or hide it. So let's come in. Here's a triangle here right in the middle. Let's click it. Goes away. Here's a triangle over here near the edge, the corner of it. Let's click that one. And just for good measure, in case there's any contour lines that might come through this part of it, let's click that one. Okay, so you see how the tin lines disappeared? I expect that to because those triangles are now invisible. And I just did manually the same thing I did earlier by selecting this traverse to exclude. So when I'm all done, I right-click, and that command is done. If I go back into my contour settings, surface settings, and look at those exclusions, I've got the same 3 exclusions that I got by selecting the covered trailer area traverse. So I wanted you just to see how the exclusions interact with the traverses. Traverses make it really easy to exclude an area or not exclude an area, and how to go in and manually select triangles to exclude from the surface. And then I just want to mention real quick that these exclusions are translated or exported out to CAD files, whether you're writing a DWG, a DGN, or a LandXML file. So let's just real quickly kind of see how that works here. I'm going to go in and turn off all the layers and come back in and turn on just the contour layers so we can see just that part of it. I'll turn on the tin line or the traverse lines too, so we can see this covered area when we export it. Then let's go ahead and tell Traverse PC that we want to send this out to a DWG file. Let's go ahead and export that and preview it. Now, I've opened that surface up inside of AutoCAD's DWG viewer, and I can come in and see that we translated over the layers so that just the contour layers were shown and the one layer with the Traverse PC lines on it there. And let's go ahead and just take a look here now. If we turn on the polyface mesh layer, so let's find the polyface mesh layer, turn that on, we can notice that we don't have any triangles inside of that covered area. If I come in and just take a look at kind of what I've got here real quick, you can see that I don't have any of the triangles in there. It's kind of a better way to see it here real quick. So Traverse PC excluded those triangles from the polyface mesh, and that's exactly what I wanted it to do. I didn't want there to be any triangles there in the CAD file. So those triangles that are invisible in Traverse PC export directly over to invisible faces in the polyface mesh inside of CAD. And the same thing would happen if I send out a LandXML file. Okay, when I open the surface from that LandXML file from Traverse PC, those triangles will be excluded there as well. So Traverse PC's exclusions work directly with CAD exclusions and LandXML exclusions.